Hey yo! Welcome to the Block Podcast for artists, by artists. We can talk about anything that we want. Give it up from Eric Curry, the third, ladies and gentlemen. Hey yo! Welcome back to another episode of the Block Podcast. And today, I'm your host, Eric Curry. We have a very special guest, ladies and gentlemen. We have a brother of mine, one of the smartest people I know on earth. We have Miki with us today, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Miki.
I give it up for myself. I'm that man.
What's up, bro?
I'm chilling, man. How you been, Eric?
I've been chilling, fool.
I mean, we out here. It's pandemic 2020. This year sucks. It's good to see we made it to October. When the aliens come in November, I'm hyped.
Man, I can't wait till November. Thanksgiving.
It's my birthday too, November 20th.
It is. Damn, what you do for your birthday?
Literally nothing, because I can't. I mean, I'll be watching for the aliens if they come. That'll be a cool birthday gift, right?
Nah, bro, we gotta do something.
I mean, but it's like so close to Thanksgiving, though. That's the issue. My birthday's
But bro, this is 15.
It's 15, but it's like, I don't know, man. Like 15 is cool and all, but like I don't.
Nah, bro.
I've never been hype over my birthday. Like I didn't grow up with that much shit on my birthday, so it's like that's why I don't really care. Like,
now, I understand, but we got to do something. It's 15. We have to. At this point, you don't have no other option. I'm gonna figure out something.
Next year, 16. We can do something then.
I bet next year 16.
Yeah, let's just wait. Let's just wait. Look.
All right, cool. I can wait.
We'll get turned up on 16, but for 15, we're gonna have to cool it down because of pandemic and COVID. I'm not trying to have some super birthday party bash and then everybody get Rona and then I'm the one responsible.
I feel that. The reason I invited you on the podcast, I told you before, like I started recording and stuff, that you are a very honest and very open individual, right? And we have a lot of things in common, and we also have a lot of things not in common. But every time but I like talking to you because every time we express our differences and stuff, it's always a mutual respect, right? I tell you why I feel this type of way, you tell me why you feel this type of way, and it's always a mutual respect, right? It's no judgment zone. So before we really dive into like the questions and stuff, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your not give a fuckness, and then we can really get this jump started.
Well, all right. As Eric introduced me, my name is Miki. I'm a screenwriter and a director and an actor. I also do some stand-up comedy from time to time. I also do PCP from time to time, so who knows what I really do. I think, I'm as Eric said, I'm 14, so 15th birthday coming up. I don't try and sugarcoat nothing because it's like, man, we ain't got that much time on this earth. Everybody got an opinion, so why not say what I gotta say? Everybody's gonna hate me one way or the other, so like, I'm gonna say what I gotta say. You either love it or you hate it. It is what it is. Like, I'm not trying to get anybody's validation. So yeah.
Shit, nigga, you do PCP?
Hey, who knows?
Anyway,
Drop $5, man. I know you got $5 in that pocket, man.
One thing that we both have in common is that we are both into fashion, right? That's kind of what really drew me into like wanting to be your friend. You know a lot about fashion. You always dress nice. But
you got the CDG shirt on right now.
I had to bring out the black one. I had to bring out the black one today. Yeah.
I just got the sweatshirt on. I'm lazy as hell.
But who inspired you like to get into that type of stuff, like the fashion and stuff?
I think first and foremost, my older brother. That's just like seeing big brother do all get him like get dressed up and he's showing me how to like tie my shoelaces the cool way and wear the shirt the right way, how to wear a belt like he taught me how to do it like in person, and seeing him get the girls or whatever he got from clothing. Like that kind of inspires me as a little brother. Like, oh, I'm trying to be like him. But then again, it's also people like Kanye and people like Virgil and all them dudes that's running the game right now. Like, it's just crazy because it's never been so much inclusion of black people in fashion, and right now is the time to see it. So I mean, just in general, like my style inspirations from people like Jean-Michel Basquiat, and all the way to people like like Jonah Hill, like like it's a wide range of people that I'm inspired by when it comes to clothing. So yeah, I'd say first and foremost my older brother, and then I could go on for days naming celebrities, ASAP Rocky and Tyler the Creator and all these people who and Pharrell Williams. I think Pharrell is one of my biggest inspirations.
Pharrell.
P, Skateboard
Yeah.
P got them. He's like the legend, the guy. So it's
Pharrell's
like,
definitely one of the most well-dressed individuals I've ever seen. But I think Rocky has to be at least top 10 of all time.
I mean, cause it's just the swagger and the confidence he has when he like wears it. Like, I mean, it's the same thing with like when Young Thug wore the dress, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's the confidence in knowing that like this is what I'm wearing, and I don't really care what nobody thinks about it. This is me. I think it's cool, so I'm gonna wear it. So, yeah, I mean, for sure, like those are definitely some of my style inspirations. Pharrell is like God level, man. That's he's amazing.
Yeah. And you brought up Kanye, and I know we're both huge Kanye guys. I remember we had a like long conversation just about Kanye.
About Ye. About Ye.
Have you heard his latest rant? Like about like him wanting to give the masters back to all the people in good music and how he's fighting for like artist equality.
Right, when he peed on the Grammy. Right. I remember that.
When I seen that, the first thing I thought about was you and what you would think about that. And I want to tell you that I don't think that this is a bad rant.
I agree. I mean, it's like the first thing Kanye has said in probably like 2 years that I didn't go, oh my God, Kanye. What? Like, this is the first time I went, oh, that's pretty reasonable.
This is a pretty good rant. Kanye might not be that crazy.
I mean, I don't think Kanye is crazy. I think crazy is a really dismissive word. I mean, we know he got bipolar and all this stuff. I mean, the brother, he's struggling. He got his own issues. I don't blame him. I can't judge nobody, but like, yeah, he be saying some dumb ass shit sometimes. Let's be real.
But I feel like this is a really good thing for artists. And I know you're a huge advocate for what's right. And like what's especially like now, right? What have you been doing to like kind of help yourself during this pandemic and like through all like the racist and racism and all that stuff, Black Lives Matter and stuff? What have you doing to keep yourself like, okay, I'm still Miki at the end of the day?
I mean, of course, because I mean, like, I think first and foremost, like, I that is me. Like, there's the revolutionary in me. There's the Huey P. Newton and Fred Hampton and like the Black liberation and all that. That's a part of me. That's a part of who I align myself with. My identity is blackness. It's tied to that. It's innately tied to that. So, I mean, going to protests and signing petitions and posting things on Instagram and getting people to come out and vote and helping people register and all that. That's definitely something I've had to partake in. But like you said for your question, what am I doing to still be me? I mean, like, it's art. Like, art is the freedom at the end of the day. Like, it's that thing that I can come home to or be outside or just be thinking and like just create. Like, just to be the freedom to create whatever I want is what keeps me sane. Because it's like we live in a crazy world. Like, I feel like everybody, like, we got rules and you got to put a suit on and look both ways before you cross the street. And we think the world is in order, but it's not. Like, if you look at the news, every day the world is about to end, right? Like, if you read everything in the news, you would think every day the world is about to end. But it doesn't, Like, you wake up the next morning and you're still you're still where you're at. I'm still in my bed. Like, it's just continual. It's a continual cycle. So, I think just the freedom to create whatever I want once I get home, in my notes or just writing down whatever. Because
Mm-hmm.
you know, like as you know, I'm a creative in all forms of the word.
All
I mean,
form. Yeah.
like you know, whether it be writing a script or writing jokes for my stand-up or getting an idea for a sketch or doing a stupid scene outside like a monologue or like I always reference this, like I say I see the world in Super 16 film, because like as a director you just have to have the eye to see like, okay, I might be outside, but I'll go, how would I compose this shot? If I had a camera with me right now and I'm shooting this location, how would I compose this shot? Where would I move that? What would the blocking be for this scene, right?
Yeah.
And so it's that internal noise in my head that never gets calmed down, even at night when you're trying to go to sleep, right? Like I can't shut my brain off. It's just a
Yeah.
million ideas. Like last night, you know, I was trying to go to sleep, thought of something, I was like, oh, I can write this down. Got up on my bed, wrote it down on a sticky note, put it on my wall. So it's like, I think it's that internal noise and that ability to create whatever I want is what keeps me sane and keeps Mickey, regardless of what's going on outside. But I think then again, it is also very important to partake in everything that's going on right now, because I mean, whether it be you having a vote or
Mm-hmm.
you having to get your voice heard and hitting the streets and protesting, we gotta partake in it, because right now is probably the most important time of our lifetime. So, yeah, man.
Do you think that everyone has that in like that internal voice that you've been talking about creatively? Ooh, I couldn't get that out.
I think everybody does. It just depends on how much you want to listen to it. Like, people have the ability to be creative. I feel like everyone has the ability, but no one takes it, because we have like I was just
Wait, wait,
thinking
wait,
about
wait, wait, wait. Before you keep on, run that back, Terrell. Run that back one more time.
you want me to say it again?
Yeah, say it again.
I think everybody has the ability to be creative, but no one takes it.
Message.
Like like I was just thinking about this the other day. Like I hate the word aspiring. Like you ever notice everybody's always like, I'm an aspiring this, I'm an aspiring that.
Yes.
Like yo, you either are or you
Or
aren't.
you're not.
It's like labels are. I was just talking to my friend about this today. Like labels are really stupidly important in our world, right? Like to label everything. Like, oh, you're this and you're that and you're this and you're that and I'm a this and I'm a that. It's like it's become such a big part of who we identify ourselves with, rather than ideas or concepts, right? So you might see a 7-year-old, you know, like I hate the word prodigy too, but like a 7-year-old prodigy in France painting a Picasso painting, right? And people call that little kid an artist, but a 35-year-old who's, you know, in his bedroom trying to paint for the first time isn't an artist. What separates the two? Like people come up to me and they're like, oh, you know, man, like I'm like, what, yo, so what do you do? And they're like, I heard you're an artist, so you know, I'm an aspiring photographer, right? It's like, well, do you take photos? It's like, yeah, and then it's like, are you trying to be a photographer professionally? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, then you're a photographer. You may be a shitty one, you may not be getting paid, but you're a photographer. Like it's that kind of sorry feeling for themselves, like that feeling of like, oh, you know, like I'm an aspire. You can't aspire to do that. You either are or you aren't. Now, as an artist, you can aspire to win a Grammy or an Oscar or make the best painting or best photo, but like you either are that thing or you aren't. And I think that way of thinking is not for the weak-minded. It's not for the weak-hearted. It's not for people with thin skin, because if you don't have thick skin, you're not going to be able to accept the fact that, oh, I'm not that. That's not who I am. I can't just pretend or be a freeloader on this concept of artist or whatever. But you know, that and the word prodigy. I hate the word prodigy because, like, you know, I'm 14 and I'm a sophomore in high school, so I'm in a grade ahead, and like I'm graduating. I'm gonna be 16 in my senior year, graduating at 17. Like I'm the best artist in my department. Like, you know, everything. Every time I meet people and like I tell them how old I really am, they're like, like I didn't think you were gonna be 14. Like you're so smart for your age, or you're this, or you're whatever. But it's like, or like and then people say like prodigy, and I hate that word because it's like there's no such thing as a prodigy. It's just when
What does
you
that
get
even
in
mean?
line. Like, yeah, what does prodigy mean? Like, it's just that it's people at certain ages just align with different things. Like I got with this at a young age, right? Like I've been doing this whole filmmaking thing since I was 13. I've wanted that and had that ambition and passion since I was like 12 and 13, and now I'm 14 and I'm surprisingly good.
Mm-hmm.
I just so happened to get into it younger. But I think the best part about it, like about filmmaking that kind of humbles me every time, is that like the average age of a director to direct their first feature film is 30. That's young. In the director's world, 30 is young. So it really grounds you when you, because in our society, you know, right now, like if you're not a millionaire by 25, it feels like the world's ending, right? Like everybody's like, you know, every day you see another kid that's like younger than the last one in the news becoming a celebrity, right? Because anybody now is 15 minutes of fame everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. And so, you know, we try to rush everything, but it's like, man, like don't rush that. Just figure it out and stay down. Like I was at this place performing 2 days ago. I was performing a poem, and I was talking to this guy, and he's like, you know, you got all these great ideas. Why don't you just make them now? And I was like, well, I'm 14, right? So if I wait until, let's say, for example, 16, right? Mm-hmm. If I stay down right now and get even better technically, aesthetically, in whatever I'm creating, once I'm 16, right, I'll have 2 years more of experience and 2 years more of networking and finding the right people who will fund my film, or people who could be in it, or people, casting directors that will cast me in those roles. And now I'm still 16. I'm still young as hell, but I've got way more than than I had when I was 14.
Yeah.
It's like people don't know the process of like taking your time and doing this good. Like there's this concept in Japan called don't touch the rice. It's mm-hmm. basically where sushi masters in Japan, they don't, you know, like if you want to make sushi, you go for the fish first, right? That seems like the most complicated part of making sushi.
Yeah.
But in Japan, sushi masters, they don't let the young people that are trying to become sushi masters, they don't let them touch even the rice for 10 years. And that's a really long process. In 10 years, you got to learn how to just make rice. And then the next 10 years, you learn how to make fish. And by the end of those 20 years, you know how to make the best sushi in Japan. But that's not how we do it in America. In America, everybody's just trying to grab the fish. Everybody just wants to grab the fish first. But, I mean, you become the best in your sphere, in your circle, in whatever you're doing, when you focus on the rice and then go to the fish. So, yeah, well, knowledge start for y'all.
I feel like that was a lot. That was a lot. But I feel like that we as a people, including myself, we're so stuck in our ways. I feel like that's why people use the words inspire, prodigy. We're so stuck in our ways, so stuck in this box, and we're so scared to see what's outside the box to realize, well, can't everybody be a prodigy? Isn't everybody inspiring to be something greater than what they are and what they were? And to touch on what you said about like the tough skin, my dad told me like, not everybody is meant to be a boss. Not everybody is made for it. Not everybody has the skin for it. Not everybody has the mindset for it. And that's why you see a lot of people who really don't understand where like we as artists come from. When we say that, okay, Kanye might, like, this is a good rent from Kanye. Or like when we do something very drastic, people don't really understand because they're so their mind state. They're not meant to be a boss. And
I think in our society, sorry for cutting you off, but like I think, because I heard LeBron talk about this the other day, it's like no one wants to play the role. If you're a bench player, if you're the sixth man, you're not the MVP.
The sixth man. Speaking of LeBron, not meaning to cut you off anyway.
Go ahead.
Just in case Danny Green or Kyle Kuzma is watching this podcast, y'all better not get no minutes on Sunday. We're recording this on Saturday. Y'all seeing this on Wednesday. But y'all not getting no minutes.
Y'all was so mad when Danny Green missed that one shot. They could have won the championship, bro.
My goodness. You saw my post, right? I was like, don't call me. Don't
call me, text me. You know mad as hell?
Don't.
Bro, I just turned my TV off and just did my homework. Like, that's how sad. I just went.
Did your homework? I went to bed. I went to sleep. I couldn't.
I couldn't sleep. I was restless. I was like,
I couldn't even. I went to bed. I was like, I can't do this. Not tonight. But my bad. Keep going. I just had to get that off my chest.
yeah, I was gonna say, no one wants to play their role, you know, like that, and that kind of touches back on what I was saying earlier. Like, learn how to cook the fish, learn how to cook the rice. If you don't learn how to cook the rice, you'll never touch the fish. But everybody's so focused on trying to be the MVP, the star player, the whatever, right? That they don't try and like learn how to do the basic thing, learning the fundamentals, regardless of if it's basketball or art or whatever you're trying to do. Like, you have to learn the fundamentals. You got to learn how to stay down and have the ambition and the goal to like actually do it, to actually love that thing. Because I don't think a lot of people love what they're doing, right? Like, if you look at a majority of people in college, right, they make it to the sophomore year, they have no idea of what they want to major in, and then they fall into some boring job that they hate that pays a lot of money, right? And it's the same sort of thing with celebrities and fame, in that a lot of people want to be famous. Everybody wants to be famous and rich and popular and shit, but no one actually loves what they're doing. So they're trying to be, say you're trying to be a singer, you want to be a singer because you want to make money. You want to be famous. You don't, not because you love singing. So you're gonna fall out of it. You're not gonna do that thing. You're not gonna learn how to hit that perfect note or do that perfect falsetto or run or whatever you do as a singer, right? So I think a big part of it is just people not loving what they want to do because they just want to have something else. Their goal is not to do this thing the best that they can. Their goal is it's corrupted. So like if you look at Kobe Bryant, right? Kobe won 5 rings. Rest in peace to the legend. But Kobe won 5 rings, man. Like, that's because he loves basketball. That's because not because he wanted to make money or because he wanted to do this, that, and the third. It's because he loves basketball. Why do you think LeBron is in his 17th season, almost dropping triple doubles in the final? Because he loves basketball.
They took the time to learn the game inside and out.
Inside and out, because they love it. So I think even with Kanye, when you're talking about it, like the mind state that people have that they don't understand Kanye, or when we as artists, like sort of co-sign or like Kanye, I think it's funny because there's this quote that Kanye gave in an interview where he's like, if you're a fan of me, you're not a fan of me, you're a fan of yourself. I'm giving you the keys, the extra step, that espresso to be confident in yourself. I think as we as artists, there's a confidence in our humility. Like you know this as another actor, like it's embarrassing to do a monologue or to be vulnerable in front of other people or to try something for the first time or to do this scene with somebody else, right? That's embarrassing to let yourself be open like that. But there's this sort of, but you have to, and there's this sort of confidence you develop from that. Like I've already embarrassed myself doing this. So when you're walking around, you're more comfortable. You know exactly what you need to do. Having the opportunity to fail allows for us as artists to succeed. So
wait, before you get too deep, why do you think people are so scared to fail? Why do you think people are so scared to fall?
Because people are worried about other people's perception. It's not necessarily about, oh, I failed, I'm disappointed in myself. I think the best people, the most successful people, are more disappointed in themselves at the fact that they did something wrong, rather than, oh, that girl saw me just fall, I'm embarrassed, or I really like that person, but they just saw me completely ruin my monologue, I'm embarrassed. You're not supposed to be looking at other people's perception. When you look like that, when you have that fear of like, what does this person think of me, and this, that, and the third, you'll be so focused on failing, you won't even try the thing. And that's where I think, and that again, that ties back to that aspiring bullshit. Like people are afraid to say that I'm trash right now, I'm fucking up, right? Yeah. No one wants to admit that they're bad, but you have to start off bad to get good. Like that's just real shit. But no one wants to say that because they're afraid of failing. They're afraid of other people's perceptions of them. And so once you kind of drop that whole like, and I think you really understand this as an actor, because there's no confidence or cool points in acting. Like you're either good or you're bad. Like there's nothing cool about being an actor. You just have to do it, and you have to do it good.
Yes.
And so you know, like it's real shit. There's nothing. It's not like being a let's say like a football player, right? You can be all cocky and confident when you're out on the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in art, there's nothing to that. It's just the fear. The only thing that holds back artists is the fear of failure and not making anything. Those two things are what kills an artist.
I feel like artists, we have to feel more than athletes have to feel. We have to go deeper internally, and not just actors, like painters, musicians, writers, every art form, right? We have to dig in deeper. And like you were saying, that's really embarrassing to dig in deeper and bring your true self out there for people to see. But that's the best art. The best art is the most real, painful, vulnerable, raw, crying, snot bubbles. That's what people want to see.
I mean, even in comedy though too. I think a lot of people don't understand like.
By the way, not meaning to cut you off again, but comedy is like literally one of the hardest jobs ever.
Oh yeah, it's one of the most complicated things to do.
It's one of the hardest jobs ever.
I mean, making somebody cry is easy, but making them laugh is impossible.
It's oh my God.
Because I'm saying, like, you got to look at it, right? Even in comedy, right? Like, all the coolest people we love are funny, right? Like, when you think about your friends or your family, whoever, they're funny. Yeah. And people get it confused. They think, like, they get confused with the idea of being cool because you're funny and trying to be cool so you can be funny. Like, don't try and tell jokes just because you think this person will like you, or like because you want that girl to think you're cute or whatever. Because that shit comes off as corny. That's not genuine. That's not how, like we were talking about. It's not raw. It's, even doing comedy, if you're doing something stupid or funny on stage, that's vulnerable, right? Because no one else is willing to do that. That's why we laud comedians. We praise them so much because they're willing to say and do whatever that we wouldn't do, that we as people are just too scared to like actually do. And that's where comedy comes from. It's making you laugh because you're like, holy shit, he just said that, or she just did that.
I was talking to a person the other day about Dave Chappelle, and they was like, oh, Dave Chappelle level. Yeah. Like he's cool or whatever, but he's just homophobic and transphobic. And I was like, but that's what makes him so funny. Like, I'm not homophobic or transphobic myself, but the fact that he can express that so easily, and just the fact that he can just make jokes about it, it's hilarious.
I think more than that. I don't think it's necessarily one. I actually disagree with the concept that Dave Chappelle is homophobic or transphobic.
I don't think he's homophobic either.
He's not homophobic or transphobic because I think people confuse the person with the artist, right? Like we talk about this with musicians all the time.
Oh, right? Shit!
We talk about this with musicians all the time, right? Like when we find out a musician or whatever, they do something in private as just them as a person. Well, like, should we still listen to their art? Now with Dave Chappelle, and I think with comedians in general, because as a person that writes stand-up and as a person that writes comedy sketches or whatever, like I know the difference in that. I might write something in my stand-up jokes that I would never say as me, just as Miki. Like, I'm pretty sure if a transgender person came to Dave Chappelle, he wouldn't be transphobic. If they asked him for help or if he needed to, do something like a regular task, like he's not gonna be like, Dave Chappelle's not gonna go, ew, you're a transgender person. But I think, and the issue is that nowadays there are blatant racists and homophobes and transphobes that just call it comedy or dark humor, and they think that like validates their racism or their homophobia and their transphobia. And that shit ruins it for actual comedians. Because actual comedians' jobs are to make you laugh. That person up there might not be the exact same person when they walk off. You know what I'm saying? People forget comedians are people. And when you go up there, like a lot of the stories, I think something that a lot of people that are in crowds don't get, like some comedian stories are not true stories. They tell it like it is, right? They say it as if they really lived through it, but it's just material. It's the same way that, an artist can sing about a girl that broke his heart, but like, you know, he might not have dated a girl that broke his heart, right? But it still resonates because that's his material, that's her material, right? And it's the same thing with comedians. Like, people think that Dave Chappelle is homophobic or transphobic, and he's not. It's just like when you see him up there, right? And you can tell the difference too. I feel like people can really tell the difference because there's some people that go up there and they're actually racist and homophobes and transphobes, and you're like, yeah, that nigga means that shit. He's not joking. He's just on the stage, but he's not joking. With Dave, it's him telling jokes. It's a part of his routine. If you went to Dave Chappelle as a person and said, "Are you okay with trans people?" Or even in his jokes and his stand-up, like, what pisses me off is that people watch a 30-second clip of his stand-up bit, literally the setup to the joke, or
that's
just
not even enough. That's not even
enough. And they don't hear, like, I remember watching his sketch, his stand-up special, Equanimity, and he talks. That was the one where he got in a lot of trouble for talking about transgender people, and literally right after the joke, he goes, "I am all for transgender rights and people being free to express themselves as much as they want." That, like, do you not see, like, the direct contrast? Like, if someone tells a joke, it's material, but he also genuinely means this stuff when he's trying to help people. Like, or when he made a joke about like Hillary Clinton, and he was like, it was like watching Darth Vader give the "I have a dream" speech, and this lady in the crowd, she got mad. Like, she kind of like fixed her face, and he's like, "Lady, I know you're a Hillary supporter. Don't get me wrong, I voted for Hillary too, but it didn't feel as good as it should have felt." And that's the truth. Like, his stand-up specials and what he's saying on that stage is material. Like, and I think also, though, we have to address the real thing of, like, okay, this is a little deep, but like, modern day liberalism is not necessarily about actual inclusion and helping people. I feel like nowadays, like, why do you think, like, in DC, right? Like, you remember when the Black Lives Matter Plaza, when they first painted it, right? Yeah. Like, we as people were like, hey, we want actual social justice reform, and we want things to be better for Black people. Yeah. Instead, they just painted Black Lives Matter on the street, and then just kind of said, hey, deal with that, be happy with that.
But they've been doing that for forever, though. Like how they're trying to change the names of, like, Aunt Jemima and, like,
but all those different things, Uncle Ben's and stuff like that. Like, it's like that is a direct product of modern day liberalism, in that we don't, because, like, people, and to be honest, modern day liberalism is controlled by white people. Like, if you look at what is okay to say as a Democrat or a liberal, right? It's all controlled by white people, because look at Black Lives Matter, for example. I've been saying Black Lives Matter for 5 years, right? Since 2015, since, like, you know, from the root of that shit. Yeah. And for years, people called me a radical and a terrorist and a this, that, and the third. And then this year, white people got okay with it, and now it's everywhere you go, right? Like, it's not necessarily about actual justice and reform and helping people more than it is giving people something to just feel good about. Black people are still systemically held down. Breonna Taylor still hasn't gotten justice. George Floyd's police officer, Derek Chauvin, the one that killed him, just got out on bail, and he gets to go somewhere else. Like, it's not about actual social justice reform. It's just people wanting something to get mad at. And that's as somebody who was born in this era. I'm not an old head that's like, oh, you know, it was good back when everybody was racist and homophobic. No, I'm all for inclusion and getting people to feel free and self-identifying however they want, loving whoever they want, being whoever they want. I am all for that, because I'm an artist and I know how it feels to be judged because you're trying to do something that's more open-minded and no one wants to see it, right? Yeah. So I'm all for people, whether it be the LGBTQ community. I'm Black myself. I want Black people to get things better, or the Asian community, or Black community, Hispanic community. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, like, I want everybody to get better together. But when it comes to jokes, comedy is an art form, and what he's saying up there is material. And I think people just need to, because at first, I'm not gonna lie, like, I had that same feeling when I saw some of Dave's, like, newer jokes. I was like, I don't know how to feel about that. But then, as a comedian, I started writing jokes, and I noticed, like, doesn't mean that shit. Like, think about how much sexist shit is said in comedy, right? No one ever complains about the sexism in comedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know those are fucking jokes. Clearly, they're fucking jokes. But the moment you bring up gay people, transgender people, then it becomes an issue.
Niggas
And also, it's hard to grapple with the fact that, like, let's be real, like, within the LGBTQ community, right? There's racism. Like, gay white people are still white. There's still racism that can happen from that. And it's scary because I feel like due to how our society works, right? With how, like, look at the Republicans, right? They won't ever say anything bad about Trump because they know that if they criticize themselves, if they say anything internal, then it's immediately kicking out, oh, you're a traitor. You're not behind the cause. And now, because of that mentality of the Republicans and the right wing and the conservatives, it's come over to liberalism now, too. It's come over to Democrats and the left. You can't say anything bad about your own political party. You can't say anything criticizing something you believe in. Now, just because I criticize something doesn't mean I'm against it. I just want it to be the best that it can be. So I'm all for gay rights, but maybe we should make sure that black gay people get the same amount of representation and they get the same amount of fair treatment as gay white people, or transgender people black trans people getting the same access to healthcare as white trans people. But if you say that, then it's like, oh wait, are you actually for the cause? Are you a conservative? Are you right wing? No, I'm not. But I want things to be better, so you have to criticize it.
For sure. Damn, you did get deep, but that's why I like. This is what the Arts Block Podcast is about, people. Truth.
Let me open my window.
And we're back. We took a little break. Miki had changed his shirt and closed his window because he started to get hot because all the fire that he was saying. But Miki, do you or do you not go to Duke Ellington School of the Arts?
I plead the fifth, Your Honor. I do, man. I do. You know, we go to the same. We're in the same.
I'm just making sure you still claim it, my brother. I'm just making sure you still.
I still claim.
What are your honest opinions on the school? Now, before you even start, if you capping, I'm gonna call you out on it, straight like that. All right, continue.
I just want to, before we start, I would just like to say, I do still want to go to the school.
No.
I don't mean any of this. I don't know who this man is. I've never met Eric Curry. This is not me. He's cloned me and made a video of me talking to him. So, but all right, honest opinion. I think school. I think it's better if you want to go to art school, as in like art college. Like if you want to go to college and do art there too, like Duke is a good school for you, because like as a person who doesn't really want to go to college, like as somebody who wants to kind of just be able, one, because financially that's an issue in and of itself, of how complicated art schools are and how expensive they are, but also like just as somebody who knows they're good enough to do this out of high school, right?
Yeah. Hold on. Before we get, like, I'm sorry, I gotta drift off for a little bit because something just came in my mind that I want to ask you. Do you find it weird when artists tell other artists, like how like older artists tell us, like, oh, stay in school, go to college? Do you like find that weird? Because I do.
I think it's just them being old, to be honest with you. Like, think about it. There's stuff that you was told when you was younger, right? And you're like, this is stupid. And then you get older and you don't really believe in it, right? Like they might not actually think you should go to school, but just because they're old heads, they're gonna say it anyways, right? Like same thing with music, right? Like in the 90s, there was dudes from the 70s and 80s who were like, this 90s rap sucks. And now we're in 2010s, and the niggas from the 90s are like, this shit sucks, this is trash. So I think that like, I think it is weird, but then again, I know that like I said earlier, like I'm not looking for anyone's validation, and I don't really care. Like they just say it because they know realistically, like that's just the easiest thing to say because art is such an uncertain job. You know, it's not like being a stockbroker or being an accountant, right? Like this is not something you're gonna have and then you can just, you'll be good in a second. It's kind of an uncertain job. And the reality of art is that people don't make it. Like you could love art, but you're not gonna be famous. Some people like not only you, Eric, but I mean like as in
No,
like
I know.
it's the truth and the reality in that like some people are just not going to be famous artists. Some people are just not going to be really rich artists. You might get kind of rich or not rich at all or semi-famous or not famous at all. But it really is, I think people like need to understand like this whole being a celebrity thing and like making a whole bunch of money off of art. I think it's all about preparation and luck. It's just some people just got lucky. They were at the right place at the right time with the right abilities. So I think more than anything, them just saying go to school is just them saying it because they have to. And I think I think a better thing they should say is try to be the best at what you're doing. Try to become the best at what you're at. Because I think a lot of people sit around waiting for a handout. Like, oh, like, like if I make this one song, I'll make one really shitty song and P. Diddy will come to the hood and sign me. Like, no, like you can't just sit there and expect that to happen, right? Now, say by coincidence, P. Diddy just, like he does show up to your hood and he is going, yo, I need to sign somebody to Bad Boy, like then this could be your opportunity. But if you made one shitty song, right, you might have gone to art school, but if you make one shitty song, Diddy's not going to sign you.
No.
So I think, but think about it, right? If you had been sitting there trying to become the best musical artist that ever existed, working your ass off to make the best songs possible, not waiting for Diddy because you were chasing it on your own, but it just so happens that luck and preparation meet, you'll be the one and you'll get it. So I think they should I think it is kind of weird, but I also understand why they do it. It's just old people shit.
Okay. All right, now back to Duke.
On Duke, yeah. Like I said, I feel like Duke is a good school for you if you want to like go to art school, like as in college. And I feel like Duke is a better school for people who are like interested in art but aren't that invested yet. Like, cause it's a commitment. Like going to that school, and you know this firsthand, Eric, because you're in the theater department. Like going to that school is a commitment. Like you're gonna have to let go of a couple things to go to that school. You want to go in? You want to talk about it?
Nah.
You don't want to lose your spot.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I'll talk about it. I had to drop friends. I had to drop like my game. I had to stop playing my game. I had to stop talking to some of my really good friends from middle school that I really wish I haven't stopped talking to because I really fuck with them. What else? I lost sleep, lost free time. Basically, everything that I really everything that I really like doing, I can't really do no more.
I feel you, and I think, and that's the thing. It's the commitment. Like that is a very real thing, and I think that's something that people who aren't artists don't get about art. Like doing art and loving it is a commitment.
Message.
Not even
it's
in the
something hard to do, bro.
That's what I'm like spending just like for me, right? Like I spend hours of my day like being a filmmaker and an actor. It's weird because watching like movies is not something you can do in 5 minutes, right? Like I can't look at another, like it's not like painting, right? I can look at another guy's painting and go, wow, that painting's really nice. I'm gonna paint that. I can't do that with film. You have to watch all 2 hours of the movie to understand the first act, the second act, and the third act, and see the different performances and the way they use Dan Harmon's story circle or whatever. And it's like it takes time, but I love doing it. So I'm fine with sitting there for hours on end watching different cinematographers work on on how this scene works, or how they want to do the lighting on that part, or how they changed it to a Cook lens instead of using a this lens, or anamorphic versus spherical, like all these different things, because I love it. So I think, yeah, I mean, Duke, if you want to be an artist, because I think the bad thing is that they accidentally give the impression, like I call it the David Chappelle effect, in that, you know, Dave didn't go to college, right? Like he graduated from Duke and just went straight to comedy, and he broke off, became a celebrity. I think everybody thinks they're going to be Dave Chappelle when they go to that high school, and they think that the moment you leave high school, you know, you'll be able to just, you know, boom, you'll be a star. But that's not how it works. So I think that
like if you're an artist, just what happened to Dave was luck and preparation.
Luck and preparation coming together. And I think people don't understand that. So when they come to school, a lot of people are disappointed that it's not like, you know, that's not like a movie. You know, like everybody thinks it's gonna be like, oh, people dancing on the stairs and singing. High School Musical. Like
we go to class too.
Yeah, we do science and shit. Like it's like surprisingly disappointing. But I think honestly though, like it's the best place to be if you are an artist, because at least in the DMV, because let's be real, the DMV is not the place to be if you're an artist in general. We all are trying to get out of here and move to New York or LA or wherever, or to Chicago, anywhere other than DC, because the DMV is a small market. It's not a place to really have, like, we don't even have a mall in DC. I gotta go to Virginia to go to a mall. You know how it feels? I gotta take the train and shit. It's fucking crazy. No, but
I feel you.
Like, but it's like, you know, I feel like if you're an artist, it's a great place to be because you're surrounded by creative minds. Yeah. Like even this podcast, right? This moment right now, us being on this podcast together, has come to fruition because you're a creative mind, I'm a creative mind. We just so happen to be, you know, at the same school in the same grade at the same time, and you started a podcast, and now I'm on it, right? I've gotten this opportunity because I was with like-minded creative individuals. And I think more than anything at Duke, the environment that you create for yourself at that school will define how successful your high school experience will be. Because I see people who don't try to create a good environment for themselves at that school, and they have a horrible time. And it's terrible. You should, like, I don't want to name names, but Eric, I feel like you know what I'm talking about. Because Duke is ghetto as hell. I think people don't get that. Duke could be ghetto as hell. It's ratchet as shit.
I don't know why, like, people, when I try to tell people about Duke, like, they don't really believe me. They be like, oh, no, y'all, the art school, y'all supposed to be the...
Right.
We have flaws, too. Like, right. I hate this thing where we put on, like, artists and, like, celebrities where, like, they can't be perfect, or, like, we have to be, we're held to a higher standard. We're in high school, bro.
Right.
Them over there, they do drugs. Them over there, they have sex. We're in high school. We're not perfect.
Right.
This is every day. Like, this is like,
it's high school. It's like high school kids. What do you expect? Like,
we're high school. We're high school creatives.
Like, you know, it's high school. What do you think? Of course, a couple dicks are gonna get sucked. It happens. Man.
It happens. Like, it's high school.
High school. We out here, man. We wildin'. Like,
out here.
But I think, like, it depends on the environment you create for yourself, because it can go bad really quickly. Dude can go bad really quickly if you don't figure your shit out.
And I don't think people understand how quickly it can go bad. Like, it can happen in a blink. Like, 1 minute you can be known as that dude, right? That, like, top. You know, like, the next day you can fall straight to the bottom off of some rumor, some accusation, something. Like, it's just... And
I think that's real, though. Because in the real world, that shit can happen, too. Everything can disappear in a second, right? Yeah. So I think it really is about, it's all about the environment you create for yourself. Because you know this, like, I'm not gonna tout it because, like, it's like, you know, I'm not about to be like flexing and all that, but, like, you know, I know everybody at school. I'm pretty popular, right? And so for me, like I know people who are popular for the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah.
And that's bad. You know, if you're no, I don't want to say that. But if you're known for certain things, that's not necessarily what you want to be associated with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about the environment you create for yourself when you're at the school, because certain people don't create that. Because like I'm with you, right? Like I be with you and Raina and all my friends and stuff. Like we be with each other, and we know that's a good environment for us to be. Because like I said earlier, it's a place when I'm with y'all, I feel comfortable failing. I feel comfortable doing things wrong, because when you do things wrong, right? And I don't mean as in like morally wrong, but as in as in like art, right? Like I could do something, like I could fuck up my monologue, and I'm okay with doing it in front of y'all because I know y'all aren't judging me. I know y'all are just there to make me better.
And this is why I think like what we learn at Duke is really important. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like the relationships you make are just as or even more important. Because once you fall, like how you were saying, like how me, Raina, Tashi, how all of us are there, we're there to pick you right back up. Like, nah, you ain't gonna stay down here, my brother. You about to go back, try this again.
Right.
It's the relationships, man, that we pick up, that we know. Like, these are relationships that some of us might have for life. Like, who knows? Like, who knows how far this relationship with me and you can go, Mickey? Who knows? Like, and that's what's so special. Just the relationships. Like, what we learned is good too, but the relationships are so special.
Valuable.
Yeah.
And I think like people don't understand that. They think that like you go to the school and they teach you how to be a celebrity, or they teach you how to do this, that, and the third. And it's like that's not how it works. Like, you know, that's not how it works around here. And I think like I'm not gonna name teachers' names because I don't want people to get I don't want to get in trouble. But like, you know, like certain teachers, sometimes the way it feels is kind of like they try to do that a little too much, right? Like they try to make it like you won't be successful, so just listen to everything I have to say because I'm totally smarter and way better than you. Listen to me, right?
That puts you in that box.
It puts you in the box, and it's a negative space to be. It's not a good environment. And like I think the best part of Duke is the tests, not assessments and papers and pencils, but I'm saying the tests of experience, and that you might deal with a teacher like that, right? But if you develop that good environment, right, with like say you, me, and Tashi and Raina and all of them and Leela, and you know, when you have that environment, even if you get tested by that teacher, even if that teacher, like you said, knocks you down, you know you got people around you that'll pick you back up. And that's just how real life works too. Because that shit is not pretty, that shit is not beautiful. Becoming successful or rich or whatever you want to be is not gonna go easy. So having that environment and developing those valuable relationships and knowing that I got people behind me, that are there to help me is always good, man. And I think it's important.
Message. Yeah. Mickey, our time is almost up. My computer's about to die. One last thing I want to ask you before we end this podcast. This is a great podcast, by the way. I'm gonna have a hard time choosing the clip on how to promote this thing because this was so great. One last thing I want to ask you, and something I'm gonna start asking everybody who gets on this podcast. I want to know, who is your favorite artist and why? Like, the name of the segment is still in the works, but I just want to know, like, who is your favorite artist and why?
Oh, man, how much time you got?
I got about 5 minutes.
You got 5 minutes? Okay, cool. Man, I could go on for days, man. But I think the simplest answer I could give you is that, like, I definitely got people I like a lot as artists, but I don't think I have a favorite because I'm inspired by everything. You know, like just going outside and seeing something on the floor that's not even necessarily art, can inspire me. You know, I think that, like, if you want specifics, like I think that there are amazing people like Joaquin Phoenix and Paul Thomas Anderson and Barry Jenkins and Marshall Ali. I feel like I'm saying his name wrong, but I love it. Like Dave Chappelle, like Tyler the Creator, ASAP Rocky, like these are all people. Pharrell, Kanye. These are people that inspire me, and that they're valiant artists. They are artists. They love art. They just so happen to also be celebrities and rich, but they love art. What they're making, whether it be through fashion or whether it be through music or film or acting or directing. Martin Scorsese is an amazing director who I love a lot. Martin Scorsese is amazing. Sayedi Mukhtarprom is this amazing cinematographer. Rena Yang, she's also another amazing cinematographer. Like, these are the people that inspire me because they love art. Like, I will always have this sort of unspoken connection, even if I never get to speak to that person or meet that person or whatever, of just this deep-rooted love and passion for art. And I will always be able to respect people for that. But favorite artist, man, I use those the last ones I just used. I'm
using the whole clip.
I mean, look, oh fuck. Look, okay, I got a couple that I'll pull up right now and just start naming off. Hopefully this works. Brad Pitt is fire. Leonardo DiCaprio, of course. Oh gosh, who else do I really rock with? I think Takashi Murakami is an amazing artist too. You can't forget about Takashi Murakami. That's the guy right there. He's legendary. My older brother's also an artist. I'm really inspired by him. He's the first person I think that really made me think like this is possible to do. Man, just so many artists. Every artist sort of inspires me some way or the other.
Well, thank you so much, Miki, for coming on the podcast. This podcast definitely inspired me. I really appreciate you as a friend, as a brother. Anything else you want to tell the people before we get out of here? Anything you want to promote?
Oh man, I'll say first and foremost, follow me on Instagram at Miki Might Die, Miki Might Die. No spaces, no uppercases. I think, follow me on Instagram. I'll be posting stuff there. Like, I really show a lot of my artwork and stuff, whether it be in Photoshop or scripts or short films I'm creating, whatever. I post a lot on there. So follow me on my Instagram, and you'll get the updates. You'll see whatever you need to see.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Arts Block Podcast. You can follow my Instagram at Eric Curry III. You can follow the podcast at the Arts Block Podcast. Remember that artists never die. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and turn on them post notifications so you can get notified when we post another podcast. This has been the Arts Block Podcast. I'll see y'all next week.